Alright, so we're gonna start talking about congruent triangle. Today we're gonna do 2 things today and 3 things tomorrow. It's sort of like the similarity. Again, but similarity was, what does that mean? Like same shape but different size? Well, congruent mean they're exactly the same thing. Right? So, as you can see, the first one is side, side, side. Same thing like the similarity, except we're not talking about the corresponding sides are proportional. We're actually talking about all sides are congruent to each other, same measure and stuff like that. So, side, side, side say that if 3 sides of one triangle are congruent to 3 sides of another triangle, then the triangles are congruent. Alright? So if you look at these 2 triangles over here, by the tick marks, I can tell that side AB is congruent to side DE, and side BC is congruent to side EF, and lastly, I can see that side AC is also congruent to side DF by the tick marks. Therefore, triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. Be careful the way you write this statement over here. Remember, all those angles got to correspond. All the sides got to correspond. Alright, so if I'm talking about angle A, well, angle A and angle D got to correspond. Angle B and angle E got to correspond. Same with C and F as well. And don't forget, side AB got to correspond to what side? Side DE. Side BC got to correspond to what side? Side EF. And lastly, side AC got to correspond with side DF. Right? So the same thing like similarities. All those rules apply. The way you name the triangles and the way you can get them, or parts that are congruent and corresponding as well. So the second one is by side, angle, side. Alright? So, same thing like the similarity statement again. Alright, so don't forget, like similarity, included angle. Alright, we got 2 sides and an included angle in between, in the middle. So, it states that if 2 sides and the included angle of one triangle is congruent to 2 sides and the included angle of another triangle, then the 2 triangles are congruent. Right? Again, I'm looking at the tick marks right now. Right? So we can see that side AB is congruent to side DE. Angle B is congruent to congruent to angle E. And also side BC is congruent to side EF. Again, and they're all corresponding as well. Right? Again, it's side, angle, side. That means the angle has got to be in the middle of the 2 sides. Side, angle, side. The angles cannot be here. The angles cannot be here as well. Right? So you look at all these things got to be in consecutive order, right? Right next to each other. You can't jump around. Side, angle, side. Alright? Well, let's check some examples out over here. So, let's look at number 1 over here. Alright, so these 2 triangles on number 1 they're congruent by side, angle, side. Alright, so let's check them out. Why is that? Well, I got side QY that is congruent to what side? KC. Alright, I also got side TY that is congruent to side KP. And we also get one included angle right there and right there that are congruent. So I got side, angle, side. Side, angle, side. They're in consecutive right next to each other. So I can say that triangle QYT is congruent to triangle CKP. Again, be careful. Double check your work. Double check the way you name that triangle, because, well, let's check them out. Alright, side QY gotta correspond to side CK. Side QY and side CK. Yep, they're corresponding because they are congruent. Side YT over here got the corresponding side KP. Alright, KP, yep, is corresponding. And lastly, side QT got a corresponding side CP. So again, this is what we did with similarities as well. Same rule apply with naming the triangles and labeling corresponding parts. That means angles and sides. Alright, example number 2. Alright, this is these two triangles are congruent by side, side, side. Well, how do we know that? On your paper, you don't see that third mark, the third tick mark. Right? I know that side AB is congruent to side DC and side AD is congruent to side BC. But hey, guess what? Side AC is congruent to side AC as well. Why? Because we call that a shared side. Alright, a shared side. I'm gonna make an addition on the notes over here on that right top part over here. Shared sides, they're always congruent. So whenever you see two triangles share a same side, guess what? They're always congruent. Right? Even though it's not given to you, right? You can say that, hey, these two triangles share the same exact side. That means the sides are congruent as well. So, side, side, side. Alright. I'm going to move on to example 3. This one is by side, angle, side. Alright, just like number 1. Now, what's given to you is that one tick mark over here. Alright, JM is congruent to LK. And I also know that you got a congruent angle M and angle K. Alright, but we just talked about it, number 2, side MK is actually a shared side from those two triangles. Right, I mean they're automatically congruent. Right, so I have side, angle, side. No matter where you go, side, angle, side. Alright, again, therefore triangle JKM is congruent to triangle LKM. Now, example 4. Again, guys, on this video, you can pause, rewind, go back to it. Alright, whatever you like to do on your own pace. Example 4. Now, over here, we got two sides. Side, side, and then we have an angle there. We got to look at each triangle individually. We have an angle, side, side. Remember, it's got to be in consecutive order, right? That means it's got to be right next to each other. I can't jump around and figure out, side, angle on the other side. I can't do that. It's got to be consecutive. Well, I have an angle, I have a side, I have a side. Well, angle, side, side. First of all, we can't prove it by that. We don't have that postulate or the definition. But guys, angle, side, side, angle, side, side. What does that spells? Yeah, guys, if you see this right here, we cannot prove it by this method. Right? It cannot be angle side to side because you know what it spells. If this happens, right, that means they're not congruent. We can't prove they're congruent by side to side, nor side angle side. Right? But tell me, why is it not side angle side? Well, look at that angle. Is this angle right here is between the two sides? Nope. If the angle is right here, then yes, it will be side angle side. But, right, because the order says angle side side or side side angle, right, we cannot prove that they're congruent. Example 5. This one is side side side. Alright, again, that take the third tick mark in the middle because they have a shared side. Alright, it's side side side, always congruent. Side number 6. This one's a little tricky. Right, this one's a little tricky because we gotta go back to the last unit. Right, don't forget. Remember that you got these two little arrows. What does that mean? Alright, that means there's two lines that are parallel. So when we start talking about parallel lines, we're gonna go back to corresponding angles, alternate interior, alternate exterior, alright, linear pairs, all stuff like that. So we have a pair, a parallel line, and we got a transversal. Well, what does it mean about this angle then? That means these two angles are congruent because these two angles they're alternate interior angle. So guess what? I have a side here. I have an angle here. I also have another sides that are congruent. So side, angle, side. Side, angle, side. So these two triangles are congruent by side, angle, side. Example 7. Alright, so similar like number 4, we have an angle and we got two sides. But again, the angles, they're not included. Alright, angle is not included. It's not in the middle. So we have an angle, we have a side, we have a side. We have an angle, we have a side, we have a side. So is that spells? Yeah. So no, we can't do that one. So those two we cannot prove that those two triangles are congruent. Alright, and last one. Again, we gotta go back to last unit. Alright, we have two pairs of sides that are congruent. But you gotta notice these two angles over here, they're vertical angles from last unit. Alright, vertical angles. Always what? Are always congruent. So now we have side, angle, side. Side, angle, side. The angle is included in between the two sides. Alright? Side, angle, side for this one over here.